Hello and welcome back. I think this is the first words I spoke all day. It is actually. I just woke up not too long ago. I'm not too sure what it is I'm going to talk about today. I think I'm just going to allow whatever comes to come. And if you allow just whatever to come, whatever comes to come, oh my God, if you just allow, one of the very first things I notice is a sense of peace. And it's palatable. You can feel it inside the body. This is, in my opinion, extremely valuable to find this, to be able to just tap into it in a moment's notice. Extremely valuable for me in my life. You see, where I live today, we're not among the worst rules, most difficult and challenging rules in the world as far as COVID is concerned. But we recently just got a bit more strict, I guess you could say, and now they're going to limit grocery stores, retail have the option to now require vaccine passports in order to let people go in. And being that I am not vaccinated, this means that my life may become quite a bit more challenging. And I've noticed as the pandemic has went on, the plandemic has gone on, that they've continually increased and pinched more and more, pushed more and more people into the corner to get the vaccine. So this creates an awful lot of anxiety for a person. This change, we are forced, some of us, into a place where we need to make a decision. And it's not a decision that a lot of us are comfortable making. We'd rather go our whole lives, many of us, with never having to make that type of decision. But here we are. And we're facing things in a manner that feels more real to many people. Oftentimes we spend most of our days with our phones in front of our faces, thinking about the next video game, the next car you're going to buy, the house, the upgrades you're going to make around the house, cleaning the house, what you're going to buy for Christmas. But we often don't look into the things that really shake us fundamentally. Not very often in Western society. Anyways, we're not challenged in that way as often as some other place in the world where there may be war and you grow up around that type of environment. A place where food is harder to come by. So these sort of challenges are being forced upon people like myself, the unvaccinated, who choose to remain unvaccinated for this COVID vaccine anyways. We are now being pushed into a corner. So being able to discover and find a sense of peace and be able to tap into that is extremely valuable when you're faced with this type of situation in your life. Because then the overwhelming emotions that can be generated do not completely bury you. As a spiritual practice, if you continually return your attention to that sense of peace, and you do this quite frequently, Then you're going to recognize when you're not at peace, which can be a reminder, oh yes, turn in. It's not to say it's going to take away how your body feels. That's not what I'm saying. And if you expect that to happen and it just happens, if you expect for it to just immediately change, and that negativity you're feeling based on from that challenge, if you think it's going to just disappear, you're expecting the wrong thing from this kind of practice. In my experience, it can be subtle, but the moment you turn on that, the minute you look in, you switch your direction from the thoughts about your situation to simply the feeling in the body, it begins to diffuse. And you can feel the instant leaking of negativity coming out. It leaves, you can feel it leaving you. And you can feel your body and your thinking returning to a more in the direction of peace and comfort. And the longer you stay with the frequency, the more it becomes real, and the more you gain your sanity back. You have much less likely chance to lose yourself in an overreaction. I hear a lot of people talking about COVID. I hear a lot of people talking about, meditation and all this stuff. But it's not very often you hear people talking about techniques on and how to remain peaceful, calm, to tap into that frequency when you're in the face of something like this. So I'm telling you from my personal experience that when you do turn in, when you're faced with these really big challenges, that don't expect it to be completely, life-changing and take away all the negativity and then you feel happy, because you're still going to have a lot of the thoughts running as a momentum. There's going to be a momentum of thinking and a reaction in the body based on that, what you believe. So it's going to generate that certain chemistry. You're going to feel it. But you can change that chemistry, and it takes time to change the chemistry. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Be patient. A lot of people would look in these situations when they find themselves overwhelmed and say it's to themselves, it's not doing nothing. It does nothing. And they would just brush it aside as if it's not valuable. So I'm telling you, these things take time. When it comes to spiritual matters and working with as an alchemist and changing the chemistry of your body, these things work like nature. And in nature, plants grow slowly. Weather changes slowly often. It's often not an abrupt change, although it can be, and also inside it can be. But just be patient. So as you turn in, when you face something challenging, stay with it. You've heard it in Buddhism and all these different esoteric practices that say, focus on the breath, return your attention to the breath. You hear that often. And it's the same type of practice for the sensations of peace. You notice it, and then if you're still in this situation that is counterproductive to the sensation of peace, then you're going to be continually in that challenge, which is a great reminder to return yourself back to that sensation of peace. In a situation where you find yourself in an extreme negative situation, use the contrast. Use the recognition of this sucks. Where I am, how I feel, I would prefer not. In that recognition is the, oh yes, turn in the peace that's there already. If I'm feeling this bad, that must mean I am not focusing on the natural state of peace and well-being being generated by the body itself at its fundamental level, by just being a piece of life. By simply being a piece of life, the life that we already are, that frequency that emanates into this world and manifests this body itself, that frequency itself is a healing life giving, producing. It is life. It is the frequency of life and harmony. So when you allow your thinking to be the main thing that is in your attention, without returning your attention back to the sensations of peace in your body, then your body begins to create a soup of dis-ease. What you see on the news is fear porn. It's everywhere. All you see on the news is talk about what generates fear in our bodies. And if you look at the news within the last couple of years, it's not only the pandemic, whatever you want to call it, the fake virus going around. Whether or not you believe there is a virus or not, that's not the point. What I'm saying, out of a bit of frustration, is that whatever it is that's going on, whatever situation you find yourself in, when it's something that triggers you like this, use it. The moment you recognize your body starts to feel ill based on what you're thinking, you can return back to that sense of peace that's naturally generated. So what you need to do is find it in the first place. What is it that I'm looking for? Well, it feels soothing. For myself, I notice immediately when I tap into it, I can hear more of what's going on around me at the same time. It's as though it opens up my perceptions through my senses. It opens up my perception of the world through my senses, and I can sense them larger. I am more aware of what my body is reading to me from the outside world, if you will. So, and staying with what the body is reading from the outside world will help return you to peace, or also what the body is reading based on your inside, what your heart rate, your breathing. You can bring it anywhere, but by bringing your attention to the body instead of the thinking, the body will correct itself. The body will correct itself. The body will correct itself. Allow that channel frequency of peace to be there. And when you do, again, one of the first things you notice is the perception of sounds. You'll hear sounds that you didn't notice before. You'll feel a sense of calm. All of a sudden, for myself, my nose begins to unplug. I notice muscles in my body start to relax and tension let go. Posture, I notice my breathing starts to calm. These are all physical sensations you're going to notice when you tap into the correct frequency that is healing for you. So this is a great tool you can use when you find yourself in any situation. And I would recommend practicing keeping that frequency going as often as you can throughout the day without having it feel like a burden. Because if you feel like you're carrying it as a burden, then that will add some negativity to your soup, which will change the chemistry of your body, once again losing that homeostasis. So you need to have a sense of it's okay. Not to say the situation you find yourself in is okay. You can't control the situation you find yourself in sometimes, but the feeling inside of you about it can change. And it's okay for you not to feel bad about the situation you're in. It's okay to allow your body to feel peaceful when you find yourself in a shitty life situation, because from there you'll make more intelligent decisions from a calm, centered state of mind. So I leave you with that. Wherever you find yourself around the world, whatever time that you're watching this video, I truly want to take the time to thank you. Thank you for all of your support, questions, comments, whatever it is. Even if I answer something silly, stupid, nothing, I really appreciate the engagement back and forth, the new subscribers just watching these videos. If you got to this point at the end, thank you. You matter to me tremendously. Have a great day. Peace.